Though a frustrating time, 2020 has afforded me an opportunity to watch more movies than ever before. The greater part of the year has seen theaters closed, creating less of a focus on new releases, especially of the blockbuster variety. More of my time has been spent watching films that have already come out, as well as revisiting films already seen. Back in April, I rewatched one of my all-time favorites, Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise, and remember being immediately met with a comfort and happiness that had been recently absent. If only for a short time, the existential loathing I felt for our greater world circumstance was defeated, and this has since prompted me to think about why we rewatch movies. One of the more common reasons is the fun and enjoyment. Ever since I was young, movies have provided cozy and amusing experiences. Rewatching films in my childhood plays on the nostalgia I have for those times, and therefore warms me with a comfort and joy. You may also revisit a movie simply because it's been a while since you last saw it, and are looking for a refresher on parts of the plot or the arc of a character. Two recent releases also left me with a personal desire to revisit them, though for different reasons than previously mentioned. Longtime Warner Bros. Collaborator Christopher Nolan spent the summer promoting his new blockbuster, Tenet, claiming to be the film that would save the theater. And reopening campaigns carried out by theaters across the world allowed for it to try. The recent analytics suggest it may be doing the opposite. A quote from the vice president of the National Association of Theater Owners suggests it's likely many theaters will have to close back down to remain viable for the future. On the opposing end of film distribution, Netflix has garnered millions of new subscribers amid the pandemic and continues to release content on a regular basis. One of its latest releases, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, from acclaimed writer and filmmaker Charlie Kaufman, has yielded lots of attention online and even broke into the newly curated Netflix Top 10. Now, Chris Nolan and Charlie Kaufman have both made films in the past for which I felt compelled to revisit. Inception, upon its release, had everyone reeling about its ambiguous ending, prompting audiences to go back and watch again in an attempt to seek answers. And films like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Synecdoche, New York elicited similar sentiments among their cult audiences since release. The unique structure and philosophies those films explore compel people to rewatch them. When it comes to Tenet and I'm Thinking of Ending Things, both films I found to be technically and thematically interesting, and after watching both wanted to immediately revisit them. While I avoided doing so with Tenet to mitigate the risk and stress associated with theater going currently, Netflix's release model allowed for me to restart Ending Things almost instantaneously. Now, neither Tenet or Ending Things would I describe as warm or uplifting. They are not cozy experiences. One is a spy action thriller with characters seeking to resolve a world-ending conflict, while the other focuses on the existential and uncertain facets of humanity. I don't expect that in the future I will want to revisit them because of nostalgia or comfort. Both feel cold and distant, though for different reasons. So what made me so compelled? I think they have contrasting complexities buried in ambiguity. I'm Thinking of Ending Things as thematically ambiguous. On just a single watch, it may be difficult to completely understand not only what is actually going on, but what that means in a more artistic and thematic context. Kaufman has a history of presenting his stories in a way that cannot be appreciated with just one watch. I may go as far as to say you haven't seen a Kaufman film until you've seen it twice. For example, after my initial viewing of Ending Things, I was left with many questions, though walking away largely believing the young girl to have been at the center of the narrative. However, during the second viewing I began to realize that she's part of a much larger fabric of reality. She as well as her boyfriend Jake were just characters in a narrative played in the janitor's mind, who happened to be Jake as an old man. A second viewing allowed me to pick up on smaller details, such as noticing relevant objects in the background, or moments of implicating dialogue. I'll spare the greater detail here at the risk of spoilers and because many have already done so, but the point is this. After watching the film for the first time, I felt compelled to watch it again. Kaufman creates stories that are tantalizing and enticing. There's almost always something more you can get out of his stories, and therefore you can't help but watch again. Ending Things continues this trend. Tenet is also ambiguous, however in a different way. Nolan's obsession with time is once again at the core of his newest film, this time manifesting itself into inversion. A muddy concept with bleak explanations that the film verbatim tells the audience not to deconstruct. It's a suggestion to just sit back, enjoy the ride, and to not think too hard. You're here to just have fun and not to analyze. It can be argued that this is Nolan at his most lazy, and while I won't dispute that, I do think this could be interpreted as a challenge. Nolan loves the theatrical experience, and his intention is to get you to return to the theater to watch his film again, and maybe he's gone as far as making his latest intentionally convoluted to ensure that happens. The sound mix is frustrating. Dialogue is regularly buried beneath the loud sound design and musical composition, though individually I found both to be rather good. And for those that value dynamic characters, I found Tenet left more to be desired. After seeing the film in theaters, I did want to see it again, but it wasn't because Tenet was an enigma that needed to be unlocked. It was because I was befuddled and confused. Did I enjoy myself when watching? Sure, but it wasn't what I walked away thinking about. It was the technically boggling choices Nolan had made that stuck with me. I wanted to see it again in the hopes that those obstacles would no longer obstruct my experience. And under normal circumstances, these choices might be more easily forgiven. Unfortunately, Warner Bros. And Nolan chose to go all in on a 2020 release, and getting people to return to the theater in this theatrical climate has proved to not only be difficult, but also morally questionable. Nonetheless, I respect Nolan's ambition to provide high-energy entertainment, and to say I didn't enjoy Tenet would be a lie. A spy-esque thriller presented on this scale was exciting, even if it didn't always make sense. Tenet and I'm Thinking of Ending Things are a dichotomy. One, a larger blockbuster seeking to save the theatrical industry amongst one of its most dooming obstacles in history, though not its original fate. The other, collaboration embracing streaming in order to be made, likely the only financing option available. One looking to provide high-octane popcorn entertainment on the largest scale possible and to as many people as possible. The other seeking to provide a thematically engrossing experience that grows with each watch. With tentpole films increasingly dominating the theatrical space and smaller budget and genre projects being forced to adapt, these different types of films and the variable experiences they provide have often been pitted against each other. But dichotomies don't have to be seen as negative. When Tenet and Ending Things both finished, they led me to keep doing the exact same thing: continue watching movies. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.